So Carolyn and I are back on Interstate 24, and as you can imagine, there's practically a traffic jam or slow-moving traffic. Imagine that, slow-moving traffic on Interstate 24. But it turns out there's a lot of reasons why there's traffic jams on Interstate 24 quite often, and that's because a part of Interstate 24 crosses Monteagle Mountain.
I'm Bill Marion, and this is A Nose for Life. If you're a subscriber, you already know that A Nose for Life is all about experiencing life in the world around you. But that begins by experiencing the world right outside your front or back door. Thank you, J.R. Tolkien. And with that in mind, it occurred to both my wife Carolyn and myself that as many times as we pass the Monteagle exit on the way to Nashville or anywhere else heading on I-24, we really don't know a lot about our neighbors who live up on Monteagle Mountain. And it turns out, Monteagle's a pretty famous place. Before we get started, some quick, simple geography. Monteagle is on Interstate 24 just north of Chattanooga, but I don't live in Chattanooga, I live north of Chattanooga, so technically from my house, Monteagle should just be down the road a piece, as we say here in the South. And it would be down the road a piece if not for several ridge lines between my house and Monteagle. So for us to go to Monteagle, we have to actually head south and then head north. Yes, there are other ways to get to Monteagle from this side of Tennessee, but we don't make videos exclusively for locals. And that's kind of a good thing because most of our subscribers and viewers aren't from around here, so people who aren't from southeastern Tennessee know Monteagle Mountain from driving north or south on I-24. I promise you, truckers know Monteagle, and for truckers, Monteagle isn't exactly famous, it's more like infamous.
You know what's really cool about going Interstate 24, let's say to Nashville from Chattanooga or vice versa, is that you actually cut through just a small piece of Georgia on the way through. It's kind of cool. I've got to admit, traffic isn't as bad as I've seen it on I-24 in the past. It's not too bad. You know, on Interstate 24, and I've said this before in other videos, it actually joins with other interstates. For instance, you can cut off into Alabama towards Birmingham on Interstate 59, or if you keep on going through Chattanooga, you can hook up to I-75. So Interstate 24 is a pretty major corridor, and that's why Monteagle Mountain is known as one of the most treacherous mountain passes in America. Now, if you're coming across Monteagle going south, let's say towards Atlanta or towards Chattanooga, you're going to pass the town of South Pittsburgh, or rather the exit that goes to Kimball or South Pittsburgh. But it's weird, why would you name a town South Pittsburgh? I mean, by the time South Pittsburgh was established, there was already a Pittsburgh, so why would you name the town South Pittsburgh? And it turns out their high school football team, the Pirates, well, they're pretty good. They've won quite a few state championships, and they're called the Pirates, kind of like the Pittsburgh Pirates. Well, see, it turns out that South Pittsburgh hasn't always been named South Pittsburgh. Way back in the 1860s, they discovered all kinds of minerals and things to mine here, including iron and coke, and they decided that they're going to turn this into a mining town. But to sell people on the idea, they rebranded the town to South Pittsburgh. Originally, South Pittsburgh was named Battle Creek Mines, according to the post office, but then they got together and rebranded the town to attract coal companies and mining companies into the area, and in order to do that, they wanted it to sound like something that had already been established, a town that was already booming and going, which would be Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. And so now they named this town back in the 1860s South Pittsburgh, meaning the steel, coal, coke producing area of the South. Typical rebranding. I mean, Shakespeare said, what isn't a name? Well, apparently a lot, because their football team here is really, really good, and they're called the Pirates. So did the plan work? Well, the plan worked a little bit. I mean, there's been quite a bit of mining here, but I don't think South Pittsburgh has ever been exactly the Pittsburgh of the South, per se. But I will say this, South Pittsburgh is a great place to stop, especially if you're on your way back and forth from Chattanooga or Nashville on I-24. It's a lovely town, and like I said, they got a great high school football team here. So Carolyn and I finally made it to Monteagle Mountain. Did you know that Monteagle Mountain isn't really a mountain at all? No, and that's because it's a part of the Cumberland Plateau. But Monteagle Mountain to the locals, well, it does look like a mountain. It's about 2,000 feet high or 600 meters, you know, whichever system of measurement you want to use. Which means this, that if you're in the Tennessee Valley and it's the wintertime, and let's say the temperature's around 39, 40 degrees, and you're getting rain, well, here on Monteagle, you're getting a snowstorm. And so this stretch of highway is always been known as one of the most treacherous stretches of highway, going all the way back to the 1960s and 70s. In fact, Johnny Cash wrote a song about it, Jerry Reed wrote a song about it, and you can find those songs in the description. But Monteagle is a beautiful mountain. Anytime you're coming from Chattanooga north into Nashville or vice versa down into Alabama or into Florida, it wouldn't hurt to stop by Monteagle and look around. There's some amazing places that you can check out, and we're going to check out some of those places today. I've never really thought about Monteagle Mountain being the high point in between place between Chicago and Miami. I'll have to look into that, but that's pretty cool that Monteagle is sort of the halfway point between Chicago and Miami, Florida. It's pretty cool. One of the things I love about crossing Monteagle is you see some of the most beautiful cars ever, because it's a great stretch of road to drive. And I'm here with my good friend Jerry Mansfield, and Jerry has one of the prettiest cars I think I have seen in a long time. Jerry, tell us a little bit about your car.
Well, it's a 1957 Buick Special, and they're the ones that had the 3 windows in the back. That's the only year they had those, with a 364 engine original and dyno-full transmission original.
That's right. That's Jerry Mansfield, and he's just one of thousands of people who take these local roads, not just on I-24, but on 41, because the scenery is absolutely beautiful. So if you live within 200 or 300 miles, Monteagle is a great place just to drive around and get lost. Check it out.
High Point is a fine dining restaurant on Monteagle, and it's a pretty neat place to visit. Carolyn and I were a little too early for dinner because the restaurant wasn't open just yet, but the owner was more than happy to allow us to shoot some video. Now, you have to read the sign carefully. High Point doesn't actually claim to be the middle point between Chicago and Miami, because it's not. It's a little over 500 miles from Chicago, Illinois to Monteagle, Tennessee, but it's over 800 miles to Miami, Florida from Monteagle, Tennessee. The sign reads Historic Dining on the Summit between Chicago and Miami, and that makes sense. One thing is for sure, millions of vehicles have crossed Monteagle over the years in rain, sleet, shine, and snow.
And what's really cool is when you're here on Monteagle, or at least this part of Monteagle, you're in Marion County. Marion County was named after me a few years ago. Okay, it wasn't named after me at all, but still, it's pretty cool. It's Marion County.
Speaking of Marion County, the town of Monteagle is positioned in the corner of 3 different counties in Tennessee, including Franklin County, Grundy County, and yes, Marion County, meaning that 3 counties in Tennessee claim the town of Monteagle.
We live in a world of interstates where, most people travel. They try to get to an interstate to get to wherever they're going faster. And most of the time, 90% of the time, that's the case. The interstate highway system is amazing. In fact, I'm going to be releasing a mini documentary about I-75 and how it's really affected and changed my generation. So if you're between the ages of 30 and up, I-75 definitely changed the culture of how we travel, along with the other interstates, but our focus is going to be I-75. But I'm here off of the main interstate, off of I-24, and we got on 64 West. I don't know when the last time I just went roaming down 64 West, so this is sort of a sidebar to our Monteagle video here, because I'm in Cowan, which is in Franklin County, Tennessee, on 64 West, and there are some really cute things in this town that I just wanted to show you. For instance, like this train station that's behind me. Sometime I would love to do a video called Every Town Should Be a Tourist Town, because I think every town in America has something to say about America's history, whether it be good or bad. Every town, I think, has something that should be remembered. This little stretch here in Cowan in Franklin County, Tennessee is just charming. It's absolutely beautiful. I noticed that some of the buildings are vacant, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I wish they weren't vacant. I wish there was enough commerce through here to justify somebody buying these buildings and actually having some touristy kind of things going.
But our favorite experience by far while visiting Monteagle Mountain is no secret to tens of thousands of people each year, but as usual, I'm the last to know about it. But first, if you're a subscriber on YouTube or a follower on VidMe, welcome back. And I want to share some really exciting news. First, our Facebook page is up and running, and I'm asking all of my subscribers to be a part of our Facebook community. I'll put a link in the description, but it's really easy to find. On Facebook, it's @BillMarionLife. That's @BillMarionLife. We'll be posting content there, announcements to some upcoming events, and very soon, you're going to have access to some amazing, motivating products to help you have adventures of your own and then share your adventures with us on that page. Donations are not a part of our business model, so unlike most video content channels, you'll never feel pressured to help us financially create video content you enjoy by giving a donation. In the very near future, however, we will have products that you may purchase so that A Nose for Life may operate as a profitable business. We're still in negotiations as to what products will be available, but it's coming soon. These are really exciting times, and I can't say this enough. I am so grateful that you're a subscriber. Right now, the best way you can help us reach profitability is by watching our videos in their entirety, liking our videos, and sharing our videos on Facebook, Pinterest, or any other social media platform. That includes joining and sharing our new Facebook page. Also, your comments are important as well. Helping us grow means being a part of our growing community that's almost a year old, and we've come a long way, but we're just getting started. If you're not a subscriber to A Nose for Life, I hope you'll consider subscribing or following on VidMe, and you are invited to join our Facebook page as well. We are open topic video content creators who believe in engaging into the better aspect of life, and you're invited. So after a brief trip to Cowan in Franklin County, we headed back to Monteagle and made an amazing discovery. Okay, here's the truth. We're the last to know about one of the greatest smokehouses in the world, Jim Oliver's Smokehouse Trading Post. This place is a National Historic Treasure, and it's officially made our must-see in Tennessee list. And why shouldn't it? Over 20 million people have enjoyed the location's excellent food and warm hospitality. By the way, the must-see in Tennessee list is a video I'm hoping to make by the end of summer. It's going to be great. But anyway, this smokehouse isn't your average everyday run-of-the-mill smokehouse. They also make fudge and have hundreds of different types of candy, including taffy. And they don't just serve ribs, but you're crazy if you don't try them. And you know what? They'll let you try them.
Listen, I've had ribs in Memphis. I've had ribs all over the U.S. and I'm telling you, this is the place for ribs. We were just going to do a sample, and they were kind enough to give us a sample, and we're walking out of here with racks of ribs. And why? Because they're that good. I'm talking about falling off the bone, and then the bone falls apart. I mean, it's that good here on Monteagle Mountain. That's why you've got to visit Monteagle Mountain, is so that you can stop by places like this and eat good food. It's amazing.
That's how much confidence they have in their product, and it works. We weren't even planning to eat, but we walked out the door with 2 racks of ribs. I'm telling you, it's the best. Famous people from all over the world walk through the trading post while waiting to eat the best smokehouse ribs on the planet. But it's not just a restaurant, it's a museum for Americana nostalgia. All over the trading post, you'll find interesting original autographed pictures and newspaper clippings of movie stars, country music legends, and even rock and roll superstars. Jim Oliver started a restaurant when he was 21 years old in 1960, and other restaurants followed, including the Smokehouse Trading Post. Sadly, Jim Oliver passed away in 2007, but his 2 adult children, James and Betsy, are continuing the family business to this day, and business is good. I could tell you about the cabins they rent and other interesting shops that are operated by the Oliver family, and I'm sure it's all great, but for me, it's all about the ribs. And the rib master is Smokin' Mike.
Are these the best ribs in the state of Tennessee?
Best ribs in the whole country. Yes. Take it from me.
Smokin' Mike is a smokehouse expert, and we were really grateful for his expertise.
Best ribs ever had in my entire life, Monteagle Mountain. They let us sample them. They said, come here and just taste one. And I understand why now. We're walking out of here with a rack of ribs and we weren't even hungry. Listen, I know everybody claims to make the best ribs in the world. I get it. Memphis is, of course, on the other side of Tennessee, and I love ribs in Memphis. They're amazing. But I'm telling you, I don't know if I've ever tasted better ribs than right here at Jim Oliver's Smokehouse Restaurant and Trading Post. Not to mention, it is really cool in there. We had no intention on buying ribs. We really didn't. But then we got the rib tour.
I strongly recommend a visit to Jim Oliver's Smokehouse Trading Post. It's worth the trip up to Monteagle just for the ribs. Monteagle is a great place to visit, and Jim Oliver's Smokehouse Trading Post made it that much better. Thank you for allowing us to share this experience. Join our Facebook page and tell us all about your experiences. Thank you for watching. I'm Bill Marion, and this is A Nose for Life.